Welcome everybody to our ERCI webinar on real-time AI applications in rail. My name is Lutz Hübner from Berlin Partner for Business and Technology. We are one of the members of the ERCI European Railway Clusters Initiative, and I take the opportunity for a brief introduction of ERCI. It's the leading meter cluster of the railway sector in Europe. We are 18 innovation-driven clusters, and we are operating in 17 European countries. Yeah, our members are mainly small, medium-sized enterprises, and from 2022, we are a legal entity under Belgian law. Our members are not only companies, but also the research community in these regions. And as you can see from the map, we are almost everywhere in Europe. What about our services? Mainly related to small, medium-sized enterprises, supporting them, discovering partner matchmaking opportunities in research and development, discovering new market opportunities, enhancing the visibility on international level, talk about innovative solutions and innovation trends due to our ERCI task forces, and establish networking opportunities in different ways, like these webinars and workshops, networking events, fairs, and business trips. Our annual ERCI Innovation Awards are the yearly highlight, and it is a contest on European level where innovative solutions of companies in Europe are awarded. Yes, one of our task forces is the Task Force Green and Sustainable Mobility, and these task force regularly conducts an survey in order to know what about sustainability in the European railway industry. And every time we have a couple of questions to be answered within this questionnaire. It is very simple. It takes only 3 minutes in order to get a picture. What about sustainability in your company? And for sure, you are kindly asked to contribute to this survey. All the links you see in the slides, you will find also in the chat. As for sure, also the contact possibilities to reach ERCI via email in the web, and in LinkedIn. So what about this webinar? The general agenda of ERCI webinars are that we will have 2 inspiring presentations, which are covering the webinar topic, followed each by Q&As, and concluding with some news from the ERCI network. First, we will start with our first presentation. It's from LAT on AI and robotics meet railroad constructions. And it's a pleasure for me to introduce the 2 speakers. Larissa Zeichert is a communications engineer, 4th generation entrepreneur and co-owner of the LAT Group in Berlin, a medium-sized company specializing in rail infrastructure, electrical installation, civil engineering, safety, and digital network technology. She and her team bring robotics, AI, sensors, and modern software onto construction site. Gersiana Shehai is a business student at Berliner Hochschule für Technik und Wirtschaft, that's the University of Applied Sciences. At LAT, she is responsible for integrating internal AI processes and supports construction teams in invoice management. Larissa and Gersiana, the floor is yours. Larissa, you have to unmute.
Thank you for the introduction, Lutz. I hope everyone can see the screen right now. Perfect. I'm going to hand over right to Jana, who's going to start us out and introduce LAT.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Gelsiana Shehai, like Lutz said, and Larissa and I will give you a short insight into how AI and robotics are being applied in real-world railway construction based on our experience at the LAT Group. Since I unfortunately cannot take it directly to one of our construction sites, I would like to give you a visual impression. Here you can see a typical situation from our daily work. For example, this is a so-called Zwei-Wege-Bagger. These machines are specially designed for railway constructions. They can move both on normal roads and directly on railway tracks, which makes them extremely flexible and essential for work. At LAT, the LAT Group consists of two companies, the LAT Fernmelde, Montage und Tiefbau GmbH and LAT Funkanlagen Service GmbH. Together, we specialize in railway infrastructure, especially in the fields of telecommunication systems and radio systems. Our work includes cabling, installation, network technology, and as well as motor solutions like video surveillance and railway power systems. In short, we are actively involved in building and maintaining the technical backbone of modern railway systems. This is exactly where new technologies like AI and robotics became highly relevant because they help us work more efficiently, safely, and precisely. At this point, I would like to hand over to my colleague, Larissa, who will give you a further insight into our work and the challenges we are addressing.
And I brought another picture because most of our team, actually over 80%, are manual workers. Railroad construction, even though you saw the big machinery that Diana just showed you, the Zwei-Wege-Bagger, one of our largest investments, are mostly still manual work. And that's also our biggest opportunity because processes are slow, they are independent decisions, and they are partly still quite heavy labor. Knowledge-based, of course. So I'm going to take you on a journey on how we actually brought robotics to a team that, I'm going to go back to the picture, is mostly in manual work and in quite an old, I mean, most of you are in our field, so in quite an old traditional business line. Firstly, and that was my biggest learning, we have to identify the real problem. I started out at LAT about 11 years ago. Actually, my father passed on a heart attack and my sister and I took over this company. And the first thing I did was bring innovation to the table. But it's not just to bring new things. That I had to learn the hard way. It never really works. It's more about solving problems people have, and then they will use the technology. Why am I showing this? Because I'm going to tell you a problem I found about 5 years into my job. We have a real high shortage of people that can work in high voltage electricity, or as I like to call it, high voltage technicians are out of stock. There's numbers for that. They have been existing for 20 years. So if people tell me about labor shortage in Germany today, I think, yeah, right, we've had that problem. The question is not if we have it, but how we solve it. We looked at the work our people actually do on a daily basis, and we found that the high voltage technicians have about 60% of their time used for documentation. So writing things down, marking cables in plans, documenting what they built, which is, don't get me wrong, really important. But it also means they don't use their hands on the high voltage. They're actually busy with documenting. And 60% is quite a lot of time. Second problem that I found is the reported cable damage in Germany. And I don't know how many of you are aware of this, but I brought a number from 21 and it's only grown since then. In 2021, within Germany, we had 27,000 claims for broken cable and cable damage. Now, these are not just the small cables. These are partly cables that set off or can turn off the lights in an entire district. And the picture I brought for you is actually one of our blackouts, as I call it, after we were told that it's not our risk, that we can cut the cable, for sure there's nothing on it. And then you can kind of tell the only light that's still on is the construction light powered by diesel. Everything switched off the second we cut that cable. And the cost that it costs when the cost that we actually as taxpayers in Germany can calculate to is 87 million euros. That's the money we put in repairing cables we broke mostly because we didn't know where they were or if they were still active. I looked a bit farther into this problem because I think it is a problem, and I'd rather see this large number of 87 million put in new infrastructure, not in just reparations. The biggest part of the reported cable damage is actually pipe and cable damage. So this is most likely cables we didn't know were there or didn't know were still operating. Why is this the case? I don't know about the other countries, but in Germany, we do not have a digital cable register. We have several registered cables, and the operators of each cable should know where their cables are. But in reality, we're out on the construction site, and we have to know which operator has laid the cable in order to ask them if they have the cable there. If they've been out of business in the last 10 years, which is sometimes the case, for example, in telecommunications, we don't have any information of their cables, but someone has potentially bought them, just didn't buy the maps. What does that mean? We're blind. And with big machinery, you never want to be blind. You can slow down this process, and everyone who has worked outside knows this. We just take a shovel and look for the bigger cables. This slows the process of construction down by about 5 to 6 days. Time we don't have, especially when it means the trains don't run when we build. So I thought, I was trying to be smart. I thought, how is this so difficult? Why don't we put a cable detection program? This is the one on the left side. It's a machine. You can detect the cables, only copper ones though. Why don't we add this to a Boston Dynamics robot and just detect the cables as we go? You could say, of course, a human can carry the cable, but just a small reminder, I need the electrician to do the work, not to run around looking for cables. So I thought, let's just add it to the robot. Also, I did like the Boston Dynamics robot when I first saw it and really wanted to order it. It doesn't have such a small price tag attached to it. Back then, this is 8 years ago, when we started, the cost of a robot with nothing was 74,000 euros, actually dollars. I translated pretty much 1-to-1 back then. And we're a family-owned business. I asked my sister, let's buy a robot. She said no. Second learning for me, you have to know your experts. And at this point, we decided to collaborate with science. I'm telling you this because I know most of you are running innovations, and I want to be quite frank about it. If you bring a robot like the Boston Dynamics robot on track and you just press play and think it's going to work, it's not. So we thought, let's look at universities that A, have the money to do this innovation, and B, know how the robot works or can help us add to it, because that's what it comes to. The first study we did actually was an M-Fund supported, I'm going to call it in English, Can We Actually Do It study, where we looked at, this sounds really basic, but we looked at, can the robot move safely in a real environment? Because we have the Eisenbahnbundesamt, EBA, who will not allow us to operate machinery that cannot leave the track or will risk any sort of public transport, or of course the safety of the passengers. So the first study was this. We just looked at, can the robot move? Can it leave the track on time if a rail is approaching? And does it listen, or can it take commands? Also battery levels, all these things we looked at. We got a really nice innovation award for it, which made us happy, but it really didn't help us outside in operations. It was yet still an innovation product or project with no return on innovation. Never good for a small to medium-sized business. So we kept going. My vision was, this is 5 years ago, to bring whatever the robot films into our app. At LAT, we use an app on the construction site, and everything is documented digitally. Because I thought if the robot films all the cables we lay, then automatically later we know where they are. And next time we come to that exact construction site, we already know which cables not to cut. It's a long-term process. I thought it's pretty easy to get all this data into the phone. Turns out it's not. So we started a second project, currently still running, over the scope of 4 years. And we had a great university join us, RWTH Aachen, with a really compact knowledge of robotics. And also a few partners like the Universität Freiburg, who know a lot about, I'm going to call it digital twin. It's not just that, but putting data onto a map and making it small enough to have it on your phone. Together, we developed this process where we want a full autonomous operating inspection system. And you can see the squares that you have. It's the robot that carries all the stuff, but it's of course also all the measurement tools that are available on the market. They're nothing new, but they've never been autonomous. And then the second part in blue on the bottom, which is the most important for me, is how do we get all that data into a BIM model and then also into digital twin. Now, I don't know who of you have worked with BIM models or with the digital twin, but you definitely have a good computer or rather a rather big server. We don't. We use the universities because remember, my end goal is that every construction worker can see their stuff on the phone because we don't carry servers or laptops to our construction site. It's weather conditions, we work at night, it's not safe, we only have the phone. So that's still my end goal. And I was really, enthusiastic about it. We brought the robot outside again. We keep bringing it to the construction site. And I just watched my team and I saw them. They loaded this robot. It's like you're thinking 100,000 euros right now. They put it on next to the box and the next thing I hear them say is, it's dead. It doesn't work. So I thought, oh, something's wrong with this innovation. And I think everyone has come to this point at if you're bringing more complex things to teams that aren't used to change, then sometimes they're not the most enthusiastic. And we reached this point for sure. And that was my third lesson. The robot taking it out of the box and getting it going is probably not the hardest part, but I forgot the user. They didn't like to carry the box. They thought it was really complex to start the system, something I thought was fun. And then the third most important part, they always had to carry this. It wasn't autonomous. The robot didn't do anything alone. So I still had an electrician holding, this iPad to kind of tell the robot where to go. And that's what happened. And that's why they kept on saying the robot is broken. I kept on hearing from the teams, we're not using it because it's broken. So third learning, really important, as early on as possible, and talk to the user and listen. And that's how we came to an addition to our project with natural human-computer interaction. And again, I was really happy to have the university on board because, and you can see Jana here on site, she'll tell you in a second what it is about, but mostly we figured that we can't have a remote control. The robot has to listen to our voice in every possible language because when there is a problem, people tend to go back to their mother tongue. Jana, why don't you tell them of what we do in the real life when we test the robot out on site, because you're here on the picture and I know you were there. So maybe give us a minute of what we do out there that makes us get the innovation right.
Well, I would like to share a personal insight from our recent project involving the robot tune, or how we call it, Byte. By its name, I had the opportunity to be inside a tunnel during the testing of the robotic dog. Railway tunnels are very challenging environments. They are uneven, full of obstacles like stones, cables, and railway tracks, and often difficult to access. Despite these conditions, the robot performed extremely well. We had a remoter and it was able to move through the tunnel, handle the uneven ground, and navigate around the obstacles without any issue. We carried out several different tests in this environment, and I'm very happy to say that all of them, or most of them, were completely successful. And this shows the strong potential of combining AI and robotics with railway constructions, and especially in areas that are difficult or dangerous for human to access. And that was my experience with the robots and the tunnel inside.
Now, Jana, let's be honest. How much voice did you use out there?
Excuse me?
How much voice control did you use when you were out there? You can be really honest.
Voice control?
That's the part. No, that's good. That's good. I ask her to be honest because the voice control is a complex one, and I'm going to come right back to it because the movement that Jana told you about, it works also from her perspective. The voice is something essential that we need. And I've circled it red because we were then sure, after doing the last test where Jana was present, that our robot platform is intact and works. Now we brought in voice control. And I'm going to give you a bit of I don't know how deep you are into AI, but basically this here is one of the doctors of RWTH teaching the robot to listen. And everyone has worked with voice control, but it's not that easy in a surrounding of rail because we're in the tunnel, we have an echo, we have a loud environment. There's our teams building with all kind of tools. So we had to be really perfectionist about it. It didn't work just to adapt an existing system. So Fan Yang here put in a lot of work, and he keeps training this robot. And just to show you a bit of how this works, I mean, we've moved along in robot programming. It used to be really complex. I think these kinds of functions you can even read. So there's one main function, and pretty much he says, okay, there's a presentation, the number of audience is 100. It might be loud. I don't have much time left. What's going to happen in the loop? And this is how he talks to the dog in computer language. I put my next word in your mind. If you are not listening, I put it again. And loop, 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 loop. That's what we do. It sounds really basic, but it's the most important for the robot to leave the track. Even if he doesn't hear it the first time and the construction worker doesn't say it again, the robot keeps on hearing it. It's a safety aspect that every one of you who has been working in operating rail systems can probably adapt to, that he's out as fast as possible, and that's not that he hasn't heard it because of a drill nearby. Just to pick you up to where we are right now, you can see he's changed a little, and the sensoring we've put onto the robot is almost bigger than the robot right now. The fascinating thing for me is that the robot can carry this weight and operate for about 3 hours with full weight on him. The systems are at the moment put so that he can identify cracks in tunnels, because it's a huge problem in Berlin where we work for BVG. They are one of the corporations partners in this project, and we help them identify which tunnels needs repairing sooner than others. So get the priorities right. At the stage we are at now is we know the robot, as Jana told you, can move freely. He's really adaptable in rail systems. We know he can listen and leave the rail on track, and now we've put the sensoring systems onto the robot. These are existing systems that have been proven, that are used by engineers every day, so we don't have to test them. But we are happy that the integration of the sensing boxes and the mobile robot platform Byte, they work together. That was a complete success. We have also proved that we can do the detection part of the defects in the tunnels. Now we're bringing Byte back into the tunnel to see if he can actually, because all these times are lab results, he can actually do this in railroad construction and in the real environment. It's also when we're going to test the voice control with our team again, to keep them on board, to give them a sort of step-by-step chance to work with Byte and see how to use them. Because once we bring more than one Byte in the track, the teams have to do it alone. They can't have the students with them all the time. So that's kind of what we're doing side by side, the cultural change and the technical growth. For everyone who wants to see this in real time, you can contact Jana or me afterwards, and I've put our details here. And for everyone who thought to come to this presentation and buy a finished project, that's not us. We're a small and medium-sized business, and we test and trial and we grow as we go, which is why I decided today to show you rather the reality and where we are than pretend we're all done, which doesn't help any of us. Thank you so much for all of your attention, and I'm ready for questions. I think Jana is too. Lutz, I'm going to hand right back to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Larissa. Thank you very much, Jana. And I share my screen again. And we already have some questions here. And for sure, you are kindly invited to write your questions into the chat or raise your hand if you have one question. We are starting with this question, and the first one, LAT is an SME. You all know already. Why are you looking at robotics to solve planning and documentation issues?
Well, I'll be honest, we are the ones who hit the cables, and the feeling for our team is not very good once all these lights turn off. So I think there's a huge need. I showed you the numbers at the beginning, and I would love for the bigger company to solve this problem. But I also think that if we don't start somewhere and we keep waiting for them, then it's not going to be, there's no change. So we've decided to go for it. And I'm very lucky to have Jana on board, because she comes from a university where they work with AI a lot, where she can help us implement new tools, and she does this not only for robotics but in the whole AI environment. So what benefits do we get out of it? because in the end, money is always a question. We are in very close contact with our customers because of these projects, so we know their needs, sometimes even before they know them, and we can give them answers to it. And the second part, we're a big part of the change, and we have people like Jana. We can win students to work for our company and young talents to work with us so that we can be better in the future. I
Yeah.
hope that answers your question, Lutz. It's fully
Yeah,
strategic.
you mentioned, Larissa, you mentioned, or Jana, you mentioned the application together with the Berlin local operator BVG in the metro system, Berlin metro system. Are there already other application cases for this technology? You collected some experience.
Yes, two other projects partners are Deutsche Bahn, where we're focused more on bridges, and then there's Wiener Linien, who are completely focused on cables inside train stations.
Yeah.
So it's different. The easy part of this is to change the sensoric devices that are on the robot. That's not
Yeah.
rocket science. And as long as there's engineers out there using any kind of sensors, we can put them on the robot. The tough parts of the project are getting the robot to operate with voice. And the second most important part, getting rid of the data you don't need to bring it back to the user. Because it doesn't help to have this whole load of data. Some of you might know this problem, saved somewhere, not to work with it. And that's the problem with the digital twins. They're quite big. They don't run on the phones yet. So that's something we want to solve. And that's also the goal of all of our partners in the project.
Yeah, usual question for almost all presentations we have in the ERCI webinar series: is the cost of the innovation worth it? What's the return on investment?
Yeah, I mean, this calculates differently than an innovation. I used to work in packaging in big production sites. We can't do it like that with the robot. But I've showed you a little bit how we've limited the cost. So the university is the one who brings the robot. They bring a lot of the knowledge, they bring the hours, and we bring the real life track experience. We bring Jana's hours into it and mine, as well as Vincent, who's the project lead from our side. But we have funding from the M Fund, so that most of these costs are actually covered. I would say it's really well worth it because we're on a learning journey and we use new technology that can come to us either way. So really, we grow in this process, and the return of innovation I see most in the sales that we do and the projects that we get because we're in close touch with our customers. But it can't be calculated as easily as an ROI in an innovation you put into production, that's for sure.
Yeah, short explanation. M-Fund is a funding program of the German Federal Ministry of Transport, which has a focus on processing with data on applications in mobility and logistics. And I think, I guess, almost 500 projects were funded within this program, and Chauffeur Plus and Robotan were two of it. And yeah, what have you learned about the process so far?
Jana, do you want to start?
Yeah, so far we have learned that technology alone is not enough. It must fit into a real construction workflow. A close collaboration between engineering or engineers, construction workers, and technology expert is essential. We also learned that testing in real environments like tunnels is very important because these conditions are much more complex than controlled lab environments. And another key learning, I would say, is that user acceptance plays a big role. The technology must be easy to use and provide clear value to the people working on site.
Yeah, there is a last question here on the slide. What are the next milestones towards rollout? You already mentioned a collaboration with Deutsche Bahn.
Yeah, we've been on Deutsche Bahn sites already, and now with the full sensoric, we're going to be back on track with them. And there's still a lot of milestones. This project is one that is on, I think, 4 years or 5 in the M Fund, and we need that time. It's always easy to show the robot in a nice marketing video and make it all look glamorous and like it all works. But robotics is complex, and the voice control is complex, as well as all this big data we're working with. So the next milestones for us getting the sensor data right for the user to be able to have a benefit of it, not just collecting the data, but actually giving nice priorities for the tunnels in BVG and a good construction overview for Deutsche Bahn. In easy, simple words with less data than we collect.
Yeah, thank you. Are there any questions? There is a question come late second, and I have to read it now. What about some similar solutions abroad? Are you in contact with them?
Yes, I love this field. You might have been able to guess. France has a really nice solution that they're using on track. And we know that there's quite a lot of Boston Dynamic robots in Germany at the time, also in house constructions and in fire and life safety environments. So actually at Berlin Partner, there's a very nice robotics network for the Berlin-focused robotics work that we're in touch with. Internationally, there's a lot more we can see because safety regulations on rail are very strict in Germany, and I can already tell in France they can move along a lot faster than we can. But I also need to say that some projects that we have seen are, and that's probably the benefit of a small business, they always end faster than they should, because robots is not something you can solve within 10 months. And a lot of projects we have seen have started, have done a nice marketing campaign, 2 little videos, and then we never hear from them again. But that's not how we solve the problem. So we are in touch with a lot of the networks. I really enjoy it over Boston Dynamics, also lately with Unitree, to learn from each other. But I also have to say, I hope every other company just has the long haul for this one.
So the questions are coming. The RoboDoc is a more robotic issue. What is an AI issue or challenge? What you do find out in this project?
I'm going to try, and Jana's going to add to it if I miss out. The AI issues in solving the data, so that we don't just film and detect. I mean, it's all smart detection, so there's a lot of AI behind that, but that we add intelligence to the pictures. Reading a crack, there's a very nice example of red crosses. So you tell the robot, photograph every red cross, but then the red cross that is sprayed onto the wall has a little difference to just being a cross. And then the robot says, well, that's not a red cross. So it's more in the image detection. That's the AI behind that. And of course, in the voice, we use a lot of AI for repetition. Jana, you might want to add to it. You're better in that field than me.
Well, the AI automatically detects the patterns, identify potential defects, and support documentation. And another challenge is making the AI reliable enough to real construction use, and it needs to deliver accurate results even under difficult conditions, and that's where AI comes into the game. Yes.
It's also hiding in the machine learning part, because the robot is not made for railroad. So he falls once and the machine learns. We teach him to walk in our environment, or he teaches himself mostly. So there's a lot more hidden behind that than just robotics.
So one question from Italy. From Italy, do you know the Italian Railways Argo and or the company ETS Ingegneria for tunnels? Do you know them already?
I know the companies. Our project is limited to Germany because that's where LAT works. If that's the question, I've heard of them, but
maybe Guido can raise the micro and make some explanation.
Yes, the question is just to enlarge your market, and maybe the Italian companies can also benefit from your experience. So a sharing of experience, a common European project, or something else could be useful for everybody. And we are here as ERCI or as a national cluster to help this in order to facilitate connections and potential new businesses, because we are all for that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's why we share it here today. And I think that's pretty much why Lutz asked us to show our ideas. And also the reason why I was very open about where we are in the progress. It's not a solution just for us. Everyone can use it, and that's the idea. We don't want to, I don't believe in that. I believe in joint innovation. So, but LAT is 130 construction people, very much Germany-based at the moment, very much Berlin, Hamburg, Cologne. And as everyone in construction probably knows, the robot might be easy to bring. Staff is not so easy to move around, and they are very low-cost staff, so it's never really worth it.
Yeah.
I hope that answers
And
your question.
there's much reconstruction work to do in Germany at the moment for rail construction. Yeah. And my last question is, have you got any plans, as I know that you will exhibit in during the InnoTrans? What are your plans during the InnoTrans? Can you say already something about that?
Well, at InnoTrans, we usually show our product portfolio. Jana's actually involved in organizing it. So it's our daily bread and butter. The second slide she showed, well, mostly electrical work. Will we have the robot? Yes, we will. It's just a nice experience, and it always brings people to our stall. Is the robot our cash cow? No. So to answer your question, frankly, Lutz, we will show what we do every day to make railroad better. And maybe one thing that is another innovation and worthwhile looking at, we use a lot of AI in our camera safety technology, where we do aggression detection, weapon detection, and that might be fascinating for everyone to see. Those are all products that are already operating, for example, in Cologne and in Berlin with any camera, for example, by Axis or other producers. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting to know that you are not concentrating on cable inspection, but also on this video observation. And so it shows that LAT has a broad portfolio in order to grow in the near future. Jana and Larissa, thank you very much for your contribution so far. And as you wish to meet them personally, for sure you are kindly invited to visit the InnoTrans in September. And LAT is one of the 80 exhibitors at the Berlin-Brandenburg Pavilion in the City Hall B. And yes, and for sure you will receive also their contact data with a follow-up email where we also provide you the presentations we show today, as well as the link to the video we will produce from this webinar. So coming to the next presentation, it is on smart real-time wagon identification using AI at the edge. And it's important to me to introduce you Laurent Renard. He is the former inventor of the highest-end super slow motion camera for live sport broadcast with iMovix. He has more than 20 years of experience in global sales with world references in computer vision, camera, and AI expertise. Laurent, the floor is yours.
Well done, Lutz. Thanks so much about it. Thanks so much for having me today. We're a proud member of Logistics in Wallonia. Good morning, everyone. I'll be sharing my presentation.
Yes.
Okay. So basically, the thing that I'll be telling you this morning is a use case which is active in one of our vertical. The thing to remember from our company is the fact that we are a specialist about edge AI, so edge computing. Basically, we are an NVIDIA partner. We are active in different verticals such as maritime defense, ground defense, maritime sector, railway sector, highway sector, and so on. And we're always dealing with regular cameras. So we unlock what is possible with regular cameras thanks to the latest generation best-in-class edge GPU from NVIDIA. Here in this use case that I'll be showing you today is going to be a question of identification of containers or wagons in real time and at the edge. So for a good understanding at the moment, this is the friction diagram. This is what happens in every country where we are active in. We are active globally, and basically the bad news is about the fact that most of the time, a lot of railway companies are still using human monitoring and manual data collection from humans, which has a lot of issues and which is made of a lot of errors. The big thing as well is if you tend to identify those wagons or those containers, you might lose a lot of information written on it. So especially when you talk about hazardous goods, it might be a real pain. And then at the end of the day, you lack of real-time data. So basically, you don't know exactly what's going on in your railway network. And then there's a bunch of issues about tracking, scheduling, and at the end, you miss a lot of money in probably invoicing the presence of the foreign equipment onto your network. And then, of course, the big issue, if you are tempted to work with something that's going to be able to make automatic recognition or automatic reading of those correct characters on the containers or on the train, you will have to change all your infrastructure, or probably to change your infrastructure with very pricey portals, with very pricey cameras and so on. So the cost is more, most of the time, too high to go to it. What we supply to the market is basically the same thing that we supply in all the different other verticals. We are able to hack, I would say, hack your camera in order to make this camera better. So enhance the image quality, enhance the motion, and make that camera at least good enough to be able to work with real-time image recognition or character recognition in this example here. To make it, we need the system that you can see in the center here. It's one of our products. So this product will allow you to work with several cameras. It has just to be present on the same network than the camera. So it works real time with the camera stream. And at the end, what you get from it as insight is real-time data. So it turns recognition in pictures into actionable data. The big thing about it, and this is so many successes, is because of the fact we are looking for partners to integrate it as an OEM brick. So that's the reason of my presence here today. We look for partners to integrate this kind of OEM brick into whatever product it might be, thanks to our complete API. Well, I think you get the point with this OCR here. It's not only about the fact of identifying the vehicle, it's about the fact of getting as much information as we can. So basically, of course, we can read the camera codes, we can read the wagon ID, we can read the weight, but the combination of all those goods, and also why not the pictograms, is a matter of high interest from the market. So basically, this is really important as well. To make it, of course, we need a certain speed of recognition. We need a certain speed of frames per second. Just to give you also a clear understanding about how it looked like, and once again, this is very important, through our APIs, this kind of result can be achieved per wagon. So we output a JSON file per wagon and per train. So it is the deep recognition also about the structure of a train with the reading per wagon. That's I guess really important. So the video pipeline, which is real time, is completely made for real-time video. So the AI model, which is made from my engineers, is also completely tackling the real-time video issue. So don't try to make this kind of OCR stuff with an invoice or something. This is completely related to real-time video. So just for your good understanding, why can't you make it with cloud? In this example, the total control is about having and mastering the total bandwidth of the camera. So we have really to deal with a maximum number of frames per second. The cloud implies a lot of latency, which is not able to catch all those data and catch all those images at the end. Once again, we use the NVIDIA Edge GPU, so we are completely compliant with the full range of those built-in GPU. So we can work with from 1 camera to 24 cameras with such a box. It does also operate at low power. We have a degraded mode, which allows us to work with only 10 watts per device, only 10 watts to deal with 60 frames per second on the camera stream. So we deployed this system here at the port of Antwerp with Infrabel in Belgium. And they are very, very pleased with the result at up to 40 kilometers per hour real time with their existing camera. So that's the big deal, of course. They didn't change anything from their network of cameras. They are only using their existing cameras from the market, so CCTV cameras from the market. Well, of course, the big thing about it is the ability to transform this network of cameras into smart AI-driven sensors instead of making manual operations. It is, of course, running 24/7 real time. And basically, every train that passes by is an object. So it's becoming an event with on-device OCD. So it's a reading of the detection of every field with text in it, and then OCR, which is reading all the text in it. So it is detection of text and read of the text. And of course, one of the key added value of those components, Edge AI components, is about the fact it is completely off the grid. So it doesn't need any internet connectivity. We can work only with close local network, and you get total control over installation as well. So there's no exchanges of very exchanges of data between systems. And basically, the big thing that is very impressive for customers, it's a plug and play aspect of the Pi box, which is our product. Because at the end of the day, as soon as you install it, you can expect to get it running within the minute. So once again, very important, already proven at scale and ready for deployment. We're looking for partners. In this very particular example, we are able to achieve more than 95% of wagon OCR. So 95% of every single character can be read in those conditions. Thanks to our API, it has been meant to be completely integrated, in this case, in the Port of Antwerp API ecosystem and digital twin. And easy, of course, easy to monetize, because at the end of the day, everything is completely automated, and you get total control over foreign operators using your network. So yeah, once again, the big deal about it is frictionless smart port in this example, or smart station, and total control about the data, of course, written on the foreign operators' equipment in 24/7 deployments. That's basically it. Thanks so much. I'll be happy to answer your questions with great pleasure.
Oh, thank you very much for your presentation. I'm just typing in the third question into the slide, but starting with the first question, what is the added value of what you present?
Well, the added value is about the fact that it can be as well adapted to other markets or other means. That's very important. That you can get solutions tackling a use case, but most of the time we are also in touch with custom issues that can only be tackled with something that should be completely disconnected from the cloud, and that needs the full power of Edge AI to be completely real time.
Yeah. Second question, what is the Edge AI key to the European market at the moment?
Well,
why is the Edge AI key to the market? Yeah.
Well, the big thing, as you may know, it is I would say what happens in the news lately is some kind of threats regarding everything related to data. We talk more and more about sovereignty of data, and in this case here, we are at least a very important part of the chain that will allow the EU Commission to be safer than what we got in the past with GAFAM clouds and stuff like this.
Yeah, third question, which is the TRL of the solution?
The one that you've seen here is a TRL 7, so it is a prototype, ready to work and also ready to be integrated into third-party systems.
Yeah. Next question, there's one question from the chat. In which markets are you currently looking for partners?
All of them and nothing really special. We are active globally. Once again, we do a lot of trade shows all around the world. There are markets such as Germany and France, for instance, where we look for partners in particular, but all of them, even from Asia and Americas, will be also more than welcome.
Yeah. May I ask you on the size of your company? We know from LAT that they are a mid-sized company. Well, what about your company?
We are 12 engineers.
12 engineers. A bit smaller than LAT.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. There's another question coming from the chat. Will you present your solution in the ERCI Innovation Award contest? TL7 allow you to participate?
If I'm not wrong, I think we participated last year.
Yeah, you participated last year, that's right. But as you have not won, maybe you might try it again.
Maybe. That's not a bad advice. Thank you. Thanks so much about it.
Yeah. Is there any question? Maybe you do not want to type it into the chat, but you can simply raise your hand and give me a sign if you have a question. That seems not to be at the moment, but you can still continue to write something into the chat and to raise your hand, because we have plenty of time to answer all your questions. And at the moment, thank you very much, Laurent, for your interesting presentation. And
so
we want to know something about your comments for this webinar. Especially we are interested in topics you are interested in for future ERCI webinars. Please let us know your ideas. Maybe you are also interested to present yourself and your solution in one of the next ERCI webinars. So I kindly ask you to fill in the very short feedback questionnaire. The link you will find in the chat. So you will find in a few days also the recording of this webinar at our YouTube channel, and for sure we will tell you about this link also in our follow-up email in a few days. So yeah, we have some ERCI webinars in preparation, I have to say. In totally 4 until the summer break. We will have one ERCI webinar, which is a special one, co-organized also by the European Lightweight Clusters Alliance, or ELCA, on battery and advanced material recycling for railway components. It's already in 1 week on the 6th of May. You are kindly invited to register for this webinar. You will find the registration link in the chat, and you will find also the registration link of the 3 following webinars already in the chat. On 3rd of June, it's on driving innovation in railway infrastructure through materials, a material topic. Then you will find the webinar on 24th of June on intelligent inspection system for railway infrastructure. Also something to do with AI, maybe quite similar with the topic we have today. But concentrated on rail infrastructure. We will have two interesting presentations on this topic on the 24th of June. And we will dealing with a topic for using hydrogen in rail. Is it a reality or is it a myth? There will be the webinar on the 1st of July, and it will takes not only 90 minutes but 2 hours, because the design of the webinar is a bit different, and the registration is already possible also at our website. So we will have a general question, and I have to prepare it in a minute to ask you, what are your favorite time slots for future ERCI webinars from September? Should we remain on Wednesday morning from 10 to 11:30? Should we change to Monday afternoon, or should we change to Friday in the morning? We will prepare the poll in a few minutes, and then you will be able to simply give us the answer. So, yeah, events. I will tell you something about the upcoming events we are planning, and as already mentioned, as well, LAT and Phoenix AI took part in the last ERCI Innovation Awards, and we will have a new issue for this year. The awarding ceremony will take place in Berlin on the 23rd of September during the InnoTrans. The applications on national or regional level are already ongoing, are organized with the regional ERCI member clusters, and if you are a member of one of these clusters, you might contact them and ask how to apply for this first stage. And each ERCI member cluster, we are 18 in total, are able to nominate up to 3 applications for the European contest, which is the second stage. Then we will have an international jury that evaluates all the applications so that we are clear nearly by the end of July who will be the winner of this year's ERCI Innovation Awards. As usual, we have 3 prizes: for best large enterprise, for best small medium-sized enterprise, and the coup de coeur prize, special prize of the jury. So you will find some useful information on this at the ERCI website. Yeah, where and when will the UK Rail conference takes place? In 2 weeks in Birmingham in the United Kingdom. We have 3 UK member clusters of ERCI in the United Kingdom, and we have the opportunity to send to you the invitation to participate in the UK Rail conference and to meet some members from the ERCI member clusters BRIC. That is the Birmingham Rail Innovation Cluster, strongly connected with the University of Birmingham and the Rail Forum. You will find more details on that opportunity at the ERCI website. Our colleagues in Turkey, especially from the Eskişehir Chamber of Industry, which is a member of the Enterprise Europe Network and a member of ERCI, is organizing every year a virtual speed match international networking event by using the B2Match platform, and this event is focusing on aviation, railway systems, automotive supplier industry, and you might register for this online event and find some suitable partners, some suitable contacts for your further business on these 3 industry sectors. Yeah, we have some special conditions for participating in the International Railway Summit, which takes place in the beginning of June in London, also in the United Kingdom for sure. And if you are interested to participate in this summit, you might find some further information on that also at the ERCI webpage. And the summit provides you direct access to railway operators and infrastructure managers, provides you pre-arranged one-to-one meetings, and provides you a strategic insight into the European rail market. So we have another event which is not cheap, to be honest, because Toronto is not the cheapest city in the world. And we have a second thing at the same time. The World Championships of Football is taking place in North America and also in Toronto. And tracks, the Association of the Railway Industry in Canada yearly performs its Rail Day, and it is a 2-day event, and ERCI is organizing a delegation, an industry delegation visiting the tracks Rail Days. We will also have a joint booth with some exhibitors together. It's not more possible to rent an area for exhibiting, but you might be a part of the delegation of the business mission. And if you want some more information on that, please visit the ERCI website and/or send a mail to Anne Dombrovo from Rail S from our ERCI partner cluster in Saxony, Germany. So funding opportunities, that is the next point, and the Europe's Rail Joint Undertaking has still an open call with 2 topics on regional rail services and new guided transport systems on the one hand, and safety and certification guidelines and demonstration of safety components for Hyperloop. To be honest, the deadline is already the 7th of May. If you did not find in consortium so far, the chance is very little to get involved into this funding opportunity, but for sure we keep you informed on further funding opportunities in the framework of the Europe's Rail Joint Undertaking, and we are very sure that there will come some new calls in the near future. Horizon Europe, that is a wider program which is dealing with different sectors and including the climate, energy and mobility sector and some other related sectors. For instance, also dealing with topics on cybersecurity, for instance, on environment, on civil security and so on. So there are a list of Horizon Europe Info Days that took place in the past and still take place regarding the current working programs of the several clusters for the years 2026 and 2027. There are some funding opportunities also related to the railway sector, and we have mentioned 2 of them, and the deadlines are not so far away, but we have plenty of time in order to gather interest from your side in order to show how we can matchmake your interest with upcoming activities in consortium building in these topics. So for sure there will be more topics, but as we saw at the moment, these 2 topics should be the most promised also for railway topics. So coming then to the section of projects, and that is the task of my colleague Guido from DTEC Fair.
Thank you, Lutz. Yes, I will try to be short in presenting you some European project where ERCI or some clusters of ERCI are present. The first one is Leader 2030. It's a project which finished end of March 2026. I know that we are end of April, but just to highlight the importance of this project was it was a project suggesting measures to contribute to strengthening the resilience of European supply chain for raw material and for electronic components, facing and analyzing the situation of disruption and lack of material in order to deliver research and development project of Europe's rail to be on time, because several sectors will need those raw materials and electronic device who will be granted with the priority of accessing to those raw material. A lot of things is happening. And next slide, please, Lutz.
Yeah.
What we have done is to present at the final event that we have organized at the European Parliament in Brussels, 8th of April, the result, and a policy brief containing the policy and industrial recommendation. And this is the opportunity just to propose you to download the policy brief, and you find the link in the chat. In the meantime, I see that there is the poll that Lutz was referring to is on the screen. If you can just click on one of the answer, it would be good and will help us in promoting our webinar in the best timing for you.
You can also choose more than one answer if
more than
you want.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you in advance for answering to this quick poll. Next slide, please, Lutz. Second project, Idealist. It's helping SME to tackle supply chain disruption and boosting the adoption of advanced technologies, AI, machine learning, IoT, robotics, and other of this list exists at the European level. The project is still ongoing until November 2026. You find the references in the slide and in the chat. Next slide. And in particular, in this project, I would like to highlight two activities that we are promoting. The first is Hack and Match. It's an event where we want to put together traditional SMEs and tech-savvy SMEs or solution providers. So this one will be the Hack and Match number 5, is the last one. You see that the topic are advanced technologies for resilience and adaptability of SMEs, and the subtopic, the 14 advanced technologies that I was referring to. We are now in the phase of the call for challenges. So if all of you have some challenges that is not solved in order to improve your resilience, your is it on a product, on a subsystem, on a process, you are welcome to follow the link which is on the right-hand side of the slide, call for challenges. You just write 2 or 3 sentences about your challenges. Then after the closing in May, end of May, we will open the call for solution, and then we will have the 2 real days of Hack and Match, the 1st and 2nd of July. Then there is a awarding ceremony mid-July. The second activity in this Idealist project is called LEX, Learning Expedition. And the 5th one will occur and is scheduled on the 10th and 11th of June in Nantes, in France. And the topic is additive manufacturing and hybrid processes For more details, you have the link or the QR code. And for the registration on the bottom of the slide. Just to remember for SMEs that we are giving some vouchers in order to 500 euros in order to cover part of the travel and the accommodation cost. What is interesting in this LEX is the opportunity to exchange information and networking activities during the 2 days, and very interesting visits which are organized by the cluster Albatros in Nantes. Next slide. Third project is called SERAS, and I'm happy to present it here. Because it's packed on skill on the rail sector. So it's something which is connected to one of the slides of LAT presentation, where we have seen the lack of staff, the lack of specialized workers, and here we are with this project. We try to consolidate the working environment of railway, and also the training and the opportunities for workers to join this, for me, wonderful world of railway environment, and having the skilled and mobile workforce across the EU able to satisfy the needs of the stakeholders, the final railway companies, certainly, but also the whole system, being the railway, the backbone of Europe in terms of transport. So you see the references in this slide, and I think that next slide, I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Guido. Maybe I can add that in our region in Berlin-Brandenburg, there is an ongoing exchange of experiences between the companies of the rail sector in order how to engage young people to the railway sector. What are instruments to raise the attendance on the attractivity of the railway sector, why is it worth to work in, and that's very interesting discussion, and so it is an ongoing discussion. We will have two activities within that discussion by end of May and beginning of June in our region. And I think it's worth that the companies are talking with each other on improving the availability of skilled workers. So for me, I would ask you if there are some remaining questions regarding the presentations or regarding that we are presented afterwards. I wait for 5 seconds. And if not so, we will send you a summary of the webinar, including the presentations, including the link of the recording, including the contact data of the presenters, and including the registration links of the next ERCI webinars. So it's my turn now to summarize what are the next ERCI webinars in the near future. It is on battery and advanced materials recycling for rail components in 1 week on the 6th of May. It's on driving innovation in railway infrastructure through materials on the 3rd of June. It is on intelligent inspection systems for railway infrastructure on the 24th of June, and on hydrogen in rail, myth or reality, on the 1st of July. All the registration links you will also find here in the chat. So at the end, I will encourage you to answer our very short feedback questionnaire in order to give us some tips on what are the interesting topics for you to be presented in the future of this ERCI webinar series. So, thank you very much for
How
your
many
attention.
answers do we have, Lutz,
For
the poll?
For the poll here, oh, I have 10, 13, 70 answers.
Good.
So we are quite good. Thank you for your answers, and thank you very much for your attentions, for your questions, and see you soon at one of the next ERCI webinars. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.